Very good morning, my dear students. Today I have explained the topic on identification of the research problem. Last class we did discussed about that scientific research, model of scientific research, type of research, pure and applied research, and research design, and also steps into preparing research designs. Now I have explained the topic on identification of research problem. Okay, this slide you see that there is a n number of the question mark is available. So first, what is the research? What is the research? Research is the creative and systematic work undertaken to increase the stock of knowledge. It involves the collection, organization, and analysis of information to increase understanding of a topic or issues. So the next question, what is the identification of the research problems? This is very important of them. Identification of the research problem. So what is the identification of the research problem? The identification of the research problem refers to the sense of awareness of a prevalent social problem. A social phenomena or a concept that is a worth study as it requires to be investigated to understand it. So the researcher identifies such a research problem through his observation, knowledge, wisdom and skills. Okay. One, research process. The research process, the category is the 8 part. The first one is the identifying the problem, already we have discussed, and the second one reviewing literature, third one setting the research questions, objectives and hypotheses, choosing the study design and deciding on the sample design, collecting data and processing and analyzing data, the last one writing the report. The review literature. What is the review of literature? A literature review is an overview of a previously published work on a specific topic. And what is the hypothesis? The hypothesis is a statement of expectation or the prediction that will be tested by research. The may or may not be. And what is the design? The study design. The study design, it is also called the master plan of the our work. It is a framework or the set of the methods and the procedures used to collect and analyze the data on variables specified in a particular research problem. So the next one, deciding on the sample design. So what is the deciding on the sample design? It also helps us to conduct a survey over a smaller sample compared to all eligible respondents. The next one, the data collection or the collecting the data. The collecting the data is a systematic process of gathering observation and measurements. Observation or measurements. The next one, the processing and analyzing the data. So processing, analyzing data, the data processing in research is the collection and translation of your data set into a valuable information. And the last one, report writing is a formal style of writing the elaborately on the topic, which means that we have explained the detail of the what are the work we have done in the work and everything we have the include of the writing the report. Okay. Okay, the next one, research problem. So research problem, we will discuss about that first one, the definition and characteristics and what are the components of the research problem and what are the steps to formulate for the research problem and what are the statement and the examples. So one by one I have explained. The first one, so what is the research problem? What is the research problem? A research problem is defined as an area of concern that requires a meaningful understanding of a specific topic, a condition, a contradiction, or a difficulty. So, what is a research problem? What is research problem? A research problem means finding answer to questions or strengthening existing findings to bridge the knowledge gap to solve the problem. Okay, so what is the research problem? A research problems mean finding answer to questions or strengthening existing finding to bridge the knowledge gap to solve the problems. Okay, the next one, what is the purpose of the research problem statement? A problem statement research seeks to achieve the following the three statement. First one, introduce the importance of the topic in the research proposal. Introduce the importance of the topic in research proposal. The second one, the position the problem in an appropriate context. Position the problem in an appropriate context. The third one, provide a framework to analyze and report result. So what are the three statements? One is the introduce the importance of the topic in research proposal. The second one is the position the problem is an appropriate context. The third one, provide a framework to analyze the report result. Okay. The next, characteristics of the research problem. Characteristics of a research problem. The characteristics of the research problem. The first characteristics covers the essential need or issues. Covers the essential needs or issues. The second one, the problem is stated logically and clearly. The third one, the research is based on actual facts and evidence. Actual facts and evidence. The fourth one, the research problem generates and encourages research questions. Next one, it fits the budget and time frame. Next one, the sufficient data can be obtained. The next one, the problem as an unsatisfactory answer or is a new problem. So these are all the characteristics of the research problem. Characteristics of the research problem. The next one, research problem statement. Research problem statement. So what is the research problem statement? Research problem statement, which means that a research problem statement is defined as an issue that needs to be addressed. It is described as the gap in knowledge about the particular problem or issue. So the characteristics of the research problem statement, it must address the gap in knowledge. It must be significant to the extent that is contributes positively to the research. It must help in the future research. With the data collected, you must understand the problem clearly. It must be in the researcher interest should his or her time the knowledge, skills and resources. Next one, the problem solving approach must be ethical. The last one, customary research method can be applied. So these are all the characteristics of the statement. Next one is the components of the research problem. Components of the research problem. So the components of the research problem is a 5 points. The first one, research consumer. The second one is the research consumer objectives. The third one, alternative means to meet the objectives. The fourth one, doubts in the selection of alternatives. The last one, there must be more than one environment. Five classified the 5 components. The first one, the research consumer. The second one is the research consumer objective. The third one, alternative means to meet the objective. The fourth one, doubts in the selection of alternatives. The last one, there must be more than one environment. So next one, the steps. What are the steps to formulate the research problem? The steps to research problem, first one is the identify the broad research area. Identify the broad research area. So the identify the broad research area. So the begin and your research by identifying the broad research area based on your interest, or specialty or profession or expertise and knowledge. So this area must possess some kind of the significance regarding your knowledge, interest and specialty. Knowledge, interest and specialty. Okay. For example, a researcher studying the sports education can select areas like football or hockey or cricket and baseball. So these are the broader areas that can be further subdivided into the various research topics to figure out marketing strategies. Okay, the next one, divide the broad area into sub areas. Divide the broad areas into the sub areas. So After you chose the broad area to study, so drill down to a specific topic that is a manageable and researchable. Manageable and researchable. So break down the broad area into the sub area and choose the specific topic. For example, if your the broad area is cricket, if your broad area is the cricket or football, it can be further divided into the following subcategories. For example, the profile of the cricket players and the profile of the cricket club and the level of the cricket clubs and impact of the what do you call the cricket club on the city and how much the revenue generating this field, what are the who is the sponsor of the cricket clubs. So these are the sub categories. Okay, the third one, the choose the sub areas. So it is not possible to study all the sub areas due to time and money constraints. Though the choose one sub area of interest and one that is manageable and the feasible for you. Okay, the fourth one, the formulate the research questions. The formulate the research question. After you chose the specific sub area, think about the areas. Think about the areas you must explore and research about. Start nothing down important the question that you deemed important for the research studies. Okay, the last one, set research objectives. So this is a main important part. So without objectives we can't do anything work. Okay, so you must draw the plan about the objectives of the research that you need to explore. So the objectives of the research study helps to identify the research question. So there is a difference between the research questions and the research objectives. Okay. Okay, the next one, the problem. So the problem, you see that the slide, the problem, unknown, known, gap, the multiple reasons. So it is typically not from a lack of effort, but because of the real issues, the difference between the expectation and the actual outcome. The most common issues that leads to the missed expectation is a lack of understanding of what is actually preventing them from being met. In my words, this is called the gap. Which means this, the difference between the expectation and the actual outcome. Okay, now the introduction of the identification of the research problem. Already I have explained the what is the identification of the research problem, what are the characters of the research problem, everything I have explained. Now I have read and explained the introduction of the identification of research problem. So a research problem is a question that researcher wants to answer or a problem that a researcher wants to solve. The identification and formulation of a research problem is the first step of the research process. Selection of a research problem depends on several factors such as researchers' knowledge, skills, interest, expertise, motivation, and creativity with respect to the subject of inquiry. It is believed that most of the good researcher studies need lots of time for selection of a research problem. So the identification of the research problem is the first and most important step in the research process. So before we start any research work, we have to find out what are the problems in our areas. We have to go through on the previous studies, that is called the review of literature. So generally a broad area is selected and then a broad topic is delimited or narrowed down to a specific one sentence statement of the problems. So before we finalize the selection of the topic, we have go through the number of the articles in the review of literature. Then finally we have chosen in our topic. It is based on our knowledge and experience and interest. Okay, so the step of the research process is considered as the most difficult and challenging and need to lots of time. A research problem may come from the several sources. Okay, this one steps in identifying the research problems. So what are the steps involving to find out the research problem? The five categories. One is the outline areas of interest and choose the topic and narrow your topic. Identify a research problem. Identify the purpose of your study. So this is the classified the two categories. Read about your interest. Talk to your colleagues, find out what others are doing, then observe your environment, be curious, ask questions. So these are the steps in identifying the research problems. Why I am saying that? So next one, steps in identifying a research problem. Already I have explained what are the steps involving to the find out the research problem. So these all slide also explain that outlines areas of interest and choose the topic and narrow your topic, identify the research problem and identify the purpose of for your study. So how can we identify the research problems? For example, already I have explained that one more time I have explained that read about your interest. First you have realized and study yourself and what are the areas you are the comfortable and what are the areas of your interest, and after you have chosen for the three or the four topics and you are the colleague or you are the senior professors or you are the professors, you have discussed about the I have chosen these areas or what are the scope of these areas, if any what do you call, if any project is available these areas, so you have finalized the find out what others are doing. So somebody's they have doing in the same work of the same topic, but they have using in the some different variables. So these also helpful for me of selected for the different kind of the variables. Then observe your environment and be curious, ask questions. So these are the steps in identifying the research problem. Okay, now you get some idea about that identification of the research problems. You know about the little bit knowledge about that, how to find out the research problems and how to we chosen the topic and how to frame the work and how to writing the report, everything. You have know about the little bit knowledge about the research problem. Okay, you have any doubt and any clarification, please ask me. I will explain you. Thank you. Thank you.